Hi guys, this is Mrs. Neal. I am so sorry for all the craziness that is happening today. I know that some of you were able to get your class connects and most of you were not able to. So we are going to go ahead and go over the PowerPoint today. And I am so thankful that you are watching it because we are going to be going over some very important information. As always, the session is recorded for learning purposes, which include a lesson review for students who are absent, students who want to review for a test, and will be distributed for learning purposes. And this is my time. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This is my time to work hard, to learn, to achieve, to grow, to prepare, and to have joy in my accomplishments. This is AZVA in pursuit of excellence, and my time is now. All right, our objective today, since we are taking ownership of our learning, I'll review the use of MLA citations. Then I will use this knowledge to help create in-text citations and a works cited page for my research paper. Now, we're not going to be able to do the bottom portion because I am recording this for you to watch, but it is something we are going to be talking about. So this is still great information for your paper. Okay, so you should have received a couple weeks ago, so right before spring break, an MLA file. And it was a PowerPoint that had all the information for how to cite your sources correctly in MLA format. For your research paper, you have to have a works cited page as well as in-text citations. That is non-negotiable. You will lose major points if you do not have a works cited page as well as in-text citations. Now remember, in-text citations is where you are putting the evidence in your paper and citing where you found it. So we're going to go over the most common examples today. But if you look back at your email, that has all of the ways to cite your sources. OWL Purdue is also a wonderful resource which gives you even more. So anything that you need help with those citations, first check the PowerPoint that you were sent as well as OWL Purdue. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So MLA format follows the author page method of citation. This means that the author's last name and the page numbers from which the quotation or paraphrase is taken must appear in the text, and a complete reference should appear in your works cited list. So you are putting the page number as well as the author's last name in your paper, but you're making a complete reference in your works cited page. The author's name may appear in either the sentence itself or in parentheses following the quotations or paraphrase, but the page number should always appear in the parentheses, not in the text of your sentence. So here are some great examples. So with these three examples, the quote is by Wordsworth, and it's found on page 263. But they cite things in different ways, and you are absolutely able to cite it in either of these ways. So, for the first one, Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was marked by a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. We see that they quoted the author's name up front and still put the page number in parentheses at the end. The second one, romantic poetry is characterized by the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Here they're just putting a piece of evidence. So they put the author's last name with the page number at the end. And they paraphrased in the last one their evidence. So it says, Wordsworth extensively explored the role of emotion in the creative process. No author, so your online sources, and most of you have used the online sources as your evidence, which is absolutely perfect. So this is a great way to cite without having that author's name. You're going to include in the text the first item that appears in the works cited entry that corresponds to the citation. So that could be the author's name, the article name, the website's name, or the film's name. So, looking at the example underneath, an anonymous Wordsworth critic once argued that his poems were too emotional. Wordsworth is a loser, 100. So they didn't have the author's last name, so they put the article title and then the page number. You do not need to give paragraph numbers if there are none, or page numbers if there are none. Unless you must list the website name and the single phrase in order to get the reader to the appropriate entry, do not include URLs. So, at the bottom, we see that instead of using http www.cnn.com, you would just use cnn.com. Or for me, since I love Disney, I would put disney.com, not www.disney.go.com. Same name, different title. Two authors with the same last name. Sometimes with our articles, you'll have husband and wife or siblings that write together. So there does need to be that difference. Although some medical ethicists claim that cloning will lead to designer children, R. Miller, on page 12, others note that disadvantages for medical research outweigh this consideration. A. Miller, 46. So this is the only time that you would put the first initial of the first name next to the last name if it's the same name but different title. If you're using two works by the same author, you're going to put the article title and not just the last name. So if you have 4 or 5 sources by the same writer, let's say it's Miller, you're not going to put Miller 38 and Miller 17 because we're going to assume that comes from only one source. Instead, you are going to put the article title. Structuring quotations. You will structure quotations differently depending on their length. While sometimes you may need to include a longer quotation. Remember that the majority of your essay should be of your words, not those of someone else. A lot of the time we find some really great evidence and we want to put all of it in there, even if it's a paragraph long. That is your job to rephrase it and put it in your own words. We are grading you on your essay. We are not grading someone else. The works cited page. This page is required for your paper. Like I said earlier, it's the last page of your 3 to 4 page essay. It's located at the end of your paper. Every source you cite in your project must appear in more detail on this slide. You must have both parenthetical citations and the works cited page. And parenthetical just means works in text citations. Like I said in the beginning, you need to have in-text citations as well as a works cited page. So the format, when you are writing your works cited page, you're going to label the page works cited. This is the centered on the first line of the page. Use a hanging indent. Double space your entries. Do not skip line between entries. Alphabetized by the first word of each entry. So thinking of the author's last name. So putting in alphabetical order. Authors' names are inverted, so your last name is first. So if you were citing me, you would put Neil Bethany. You would not put Bethany Neil. If there is more than one work by an author, alphabetize the works and use 3 hyphens in place of the author's name after the first listing. So you can put all of the works together. You just need to make sure you alphabetize them. Capitalize each word in titles, except for articles, short prepositions, or conjunctions that are not beginning in the title. Italicize titles of books, journals, magazines, newspapers, and films. Use quotation marks around titles of articles, short stories, books, chapters, poems, songs. List page numbers when needed. If you're talking about a book that's 500 pages long, we know you didn't use all 500 pages, so put which pages you used. Maybe you'll only use page 12. That's fine. Put that down. Give enough information so that the source can be retrieved either online or from its original form. If you don't have all the information, give what you have in the order set forth by the MLA handbook. So books, this is a great example. You put your last name, then first name, then the title of the book, the place of publication, the publisher, year of publication, and the medium. A lot of this can be found on one of the first couple pages if you're using a hard print book. A website. editor, author, or compiler's name. So whoever wrote or created the article. The name of the site, the version number, name of the sponsor, the institution or organization, the date of resource, the medium of publication, and the date of access. So this one's going to be a lot more information, and you may not have everything. You may not have a version number, and that's fine. But you need to put down as much information as you can. So at the bottom, you see it has November 28th, 2003 as a date that it was created, and May 10th, 2006 is when you accessed it. Now, obviously, that was 11 years ago. This is an old example, but it is still ring true. Article on a website. So the article title. First, the author. Sorry, I totally skipped over that. That's so important. Author's name first. Then the article title, the name of the website, name of the institution or organization affiliated with the website, date of posting and revision, the medium of publication, and the date of access. So very similar to the last one, except you were putting the article title if you did not use the full website. Scholarly journal, same type of thing. Put in the date of access is important. If you did it all today, you need to make sure you put March 22nd. And blog posts, those aren't really reliable resources, especially for this paper, but we wanted to put it there anyway. All right, we're going to skip through our stuff that we needed to work on together. So, this was a very quick class because you were not able to be with me, which is very sad. But we are going to go over very quickly some things you need to be working on. Your 4.8 assignment is due today. That is your checklist. You can find that in the 4.08 section. That's going to ask you specific questions as well as an outline. All of that needs to be completed and turned in. Do not just pick a few questions to answer or you will lose major points. You need to answer every question in full, complete sentences and fill out the outline. Your research paper is due on Monday, the 27th. You need to make sure that you turn that in. It's 3 to 4 pages on a debatable claim. It cannot be the same as your speech. It needs to have in-text citations and a works cited page. If you have questions on your topic, please let Ms. Cummings or myself know. The interim assessment, number 5. Most of you have done it, but there's quite a few of you who have not. Please do that by Sunday. Continue going through the unit. Come to tutoring and help. We have that tomorrow. Hopefully everything will be up and ready for then. OWL Purdue, MLA citations. If you have any questions that was not covered in the slides, make sure you're going to OWL Purdue. AZ Merit. Some of you are taking AZ Merit next week and some of you are taking them the week after. That means there are no live sessions, at least for English 9, because we are going to help with the testing. That does not mean you're not doing homework because assignments are still due. You do need to check the announcements and emails towards the end of this week as well as next week because we are going to go in detail of what you need to be working on even though we are not there. Ms. Cummings will be helping with testing next week and I will be the week after. So you may only be able to talk to one of us for a full week, but do not worry. We work together and know what's going on with all of you. So if you have any questions, please let us know. All right. Continue working on your research paper, especially your checklist that is due today. If you have any questions, please let Ms. Cummings or myself know. I hope you have a wonderful day and let's have a good rest of our wacky Wednesday.